Hey guys, welcome back to the MLG stream covering IEM New York City. We're just about 10 blocks away from where all the action is happening at Comic-Con at the Javits Center, where we're here at the MLG offices. And actually, I'm joined not by Axeltos, but by Nanoa. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. I'm happy to get the chance to cast the game.
Yeah. So you were playing a couple warm-up games earlier, right? Of course, you played in a tournament tomorrow on Friday in Group Stage 2. How are you feeling about that group stage right now?
I think I got the best group I could have had.
Okay.
All the groups were 2 Koreans and 1 foreigner.
Yeah.
Except for my group. Apparently, I'm counted as a Korean.
Well, I mean, if you think about the way the qualifiers worked out, you know, you came in. There was 4 people came in from the American qualifiers, right? And then there was 2 from the Korean and 2 from the European.
Oh, that's
but
true.
the other European was a Korean, so.
It's true. You're right.
Yeah. So I mean, European and
makes
Korean,
sense.
basically the same thing, right?
I
The
don't-
skill
I don't
level.
think so.
Skill level.
I think the top European players, they
Yeah.
can compare to the top Korean players, but then there's like 100 good Koreans
Yeah.
and there's like 4 good European players. So
So they've got us beat in numbers.
yeah.
They definitely overwhelm us. So the next game we're going to do on stream is actually going to be San against Snoot. But, of course, that's a round 2 match. Both San and Snoot took down their first round opponents very swiftly. I think it was Snoot against Pikachu and San against Desro. But before we talk about the next match, I want to ask you a couple of things. You did see that last match, right?
Yeah, I
Or
saw.
parts of it?
I saw the game. Yeah.
Okay, so
From the start.
I mean, you actually predicted SWS would do very well against the Muslim.
Yeah.
Did he play kind of how you thought he would? Can you give us some thoughts on that matchup?
Unfortunately, I know a lot of weaknesses from the Muslim.
Yeah.
Like, I'm friends with him, so
Yeah.
that's not it. But whenever he plays an offline event, he always plays much, much worse than he
Okay.
does online. Like, I've seen him play online and offline a lot of times, and every time I see him online, the WCS America, he plays very well,
Yeah.
and he beats really good players. But then he goes offline, and he lost to Minigun 0-2,
Yeah.
I think. I think that's a great example. And I didn't really know how he would do it this game, of course, but
Yeah. You know, in general, that he's.
yeah, he's played like as long as me now, like 3 years.
Yeah.
And he's still the same guy offline, I think, unfortunately.
So, do you think part of that maybe he's such a popular player? His stream is so huge. He's got. I feel like maybe he has more pressure on him to succeed. And do you think that could be part of what? Does he get extra nervous out of all the pressure that's on him?
Oh, of course, that's
Yeah.
one of the big factors. But I think the thing is, like, if you get famous for, let's say, streaming instead of results,
Yeah.
eventually, when you get to a certain point of fame, you will have a certain amount of expectations on you because you're that famous, right?
Yeah.
So when you can't really deliver what they're expecting, then you will feel really bad after a while, and
And then it comes like a spiral.
it's like a
and
snowball effect.
Yeah.
I think. At least that's my opinion about it.
Okay.
And I think once he can break it, like he can
One big win and.
one big win, then
Yeah.
I think it will be fine. But it's obviously going to be really hard.
Yeah. Well, he's not out of the tournament. It's a double elimination format. And the Muslim, obviously, talked about how good he is online. He often takes out. I've seen him compete with the best Korean players occasionally. So if he can kind of maybe get off of the spotlight for a second and find his normal top-level play, he could definitely make a comeback. But on our next match, Snoot against San. How do you think this match will go, and maybe some thoughts on each of the players and their chances?
I think both of them are very hard-working players.
Yeah.
Especially Snoot. I've lived with him in the EGTL house, and I know he plays like all the time, 24/7, like literally all the time.
Wow.
Like, I remember every time we were going to get food, he's like, I don't want to go, bring me food, I want to practice. We had to like force him to not play.
Yeah.
But San is a beast in himself. Like, people don't give him enough credit for how good he is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, Aces ROG, he came top 2, and he was still, he was on a Zubu, but then he left straight after. He didn't get any big offers,
Yeah.
apparently, but personally, to me, he's always like a top 3, top 4 contender for every tournament he goes into.
Yeah.
So.
In fact, he was actually playing in the Korean qualifiers for this event to get straight into stage 2. And I remember he actually didn't lose a single series throughout the entire Korean qualifier. The
Really?
first one, yeah. So he actually, and the way it worked is there was a Korean qualifier, top 4 from the Korean qualifier went on to the Asian qualifier. And both San and Innovation went undefeated. And Curious and Zest came in through the lower bracket. But then unfortunately, when he went to the Asian qualifier, only top 2 advanced. and he got 4th place there. So he
Uh.
lost to both. I think he lost to Curious, and then he lost to lost to Zest and Innovation, maybe
Yeah.
it was. So Zest,
That's
of
still
course.
very impressive
Yeah.
though. Top 4 in the Asia qualifier and then
And there was like
top 2 in the Korean. It's amazingly good.
yeah, in the Korean qualifiers, there was something like 50, 60 of the top Korean players in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So obviously that's like good enough to beat all the foreigners.
yeah. So
No doubt.
yeah. The question is we talk about Asus ROG. Son, of course, has played a lot in Korea. How much
Yeah.
has he traveled, and how much might that affect him? I think this might be his first tournament in the United States.
That's a good point actually. I didn't think about that part. I just assume that all the Koreans are robots that don't get affected, but it's
Yeah.
not true obviously.
Yeah.
They also get nervous just like us.
Yeah.
But he's been to Asus ROG and I can't remember any other event I've seen him at, like a foreign event.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe MLG, maybe.
I don't remember him
but
playing
I don't
MLG.
remember.
Yeah, it might have been a little while ago, of course.
So that's very possible.
So,
So I think jet lag will be his biggest problem here then.
yeah,
But if he's not affected, I believe in him a lot.
yeah. I actually, he's one of those players. I remember he first got famous when it was like a GSL, I think, maybe about 2 years ago. He made top 4, and he lost in the semifinals, or maybe it was the finals. He made it really, really far. And there was a famous game where he just where it was back when you could warp in Templar at 75 energy. And his game was the one that caused everyone to complain about that. 'cause-
Metalopolis, I think.
Yeah, it was.
I think I saw it was like really long and
it was like an hour-long game, and he just
he lost his entire main and then he like kept expanding
yeah.
and eventually he won the game, I think.
Yeah, he won the game basically by because his turn was a big army, but he kept expanding
Yeah,
and
yeah.
warping in Templar, and
At Pylons,
Yeah, yeah.
I remember it.
so that was like
It was a nice game.
it was a nice game. Those are the heydays of Protoss, right? When you could warp in.
We need it back.
Yeah. But then since then, like he recently, right? He kind of died down a bit as far
Yeah,
as like
it's true.
known results. But then he got second in Asus ROG. In the Acer Team Story Cup, he just ult killed Axiom, I think about a week ago. So an Axiom, of course, if you ult kill Axiom, that's a pretty good result, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good,
Yeah.
especially considering that they probably had Innovation as a player, I assume. No?
Acer Team Story Cup didn't use him, no, because because Acer is playing that as well.
But still, it's X-Slayer, so it's still really good. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about it, like,
They had Ryung twice,
Eneshoso
they fielded-
San, if you think about it like this, like,
Yeah.
the weakest team, and then Eneshoso San,
Yeah,
the guy who didn't win anything for like a year or two,
exactly.
then comes back, wins against everybody.
Yeah, he's definitely
What is there to expect? Like, it's so hard to tell.
yeah. Kind of you could say he's been inconsistent,
Yeah,
although
yeah,
lately
yeah.
he's been consistently.
But right now, he's doing really good in everything he plays in.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
So we're actually in the lobby right now, and I want to ask you really quick before the game starts about the map pool. So the way it works is there is vetoes. I don't know which player vetoed which maps, but the 3 maps that are left for this, let me tell them they can start whenever they want. The 3 maps that are going to be for this best of 3 is going to be Polar Night, Frost, and Akalon Waste. So for a PVZ, how do you feel about those 3 maps?
I think Frost is kind of a wild card because
Okay.
it's 4-player spawn, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that the Overlord goes in the wrong direction in the first place, then you can make some really funky plays with Protoss, like Dark Templar or something like this.
Yeah.
But if it does come and you're going for Dark Templars, then you're gonna have a problem. So
Yeah,
I'm kind of wondering how he will approach the game, like with a really safe mindset, or
Okay.
just like taking a small gamble.
So I guess there's only like I guess so the Overlord, if they were near you and scouted, there's only 1/3 chance if it scout
Yeah,
you early,
exactly,
right? So you got a 2/3 chance of making that work. But
But
is
yeah, I
Sana
think
type of guy who wants to take that?
I don't think so, to be
Yeah.
honest. I've never seen him take a really big risk since like 2010. So
So he's got a lot of time of playing. Maybe he's more confident now.
But I think everything will come down to how they play on the first game. I think they will both like feel each other out,
Yeah.
and they will see like, okay, you're this good at macro game, or you're this good at like reacting to that kind of stuff, and then they will choose their strategy based on that in game 2.
Okay.
Or at least that's what I would do.
So I haven't seen Snoot play super recently, but I remember one thing that I've seen him in the past do a lot against Protoss is he goes like Roach Hydra, but he goes really fast to Hive, and then he
Yeah.
tries to hit these timings
Yeah.
right when Vipers come out. Does he still do that a lot, do you know, or is it?
Yeah, I have played Snoot quite a few
Okay.
games. I'm not gonna talk like in
Yeah,
depth about his
yeah,
strategies
don't give
because
it
that
all away.
wouldn't be very nice.
Yeah,
but
but
he does really like the Roach Hydra style,
Okay.
and he always tries to make the Viper stuff. Like a timing like you said exactly.
Yeah.
It's true. I haven't seen him play the last month or so I'm not sure if he has like a new
I mean,
strategy figured out. But
with the amount he practices, he could
he
easily.
does play a lot. But
Yeah.
he's the kind of guy who likes he gets one thing, you know, and then he like perfects it.
Yeah, yeah.
There is some different kind of players. Like some make just a lot of builds and like try to be unpredictable. But some players they just like go straight on
And
try to
perfect.
win like perfection.
Yeah, I think that's like Flash is a good example. Of a player
Yeah,
like that.
exactly like that.
He has 2 builds, right?
Yeah,
Super macro
it's
or 2
pretty
racks.
stupid, though. It's too much.
Yeah, maybe. So here we are. The first map's going to be Polar Night. In the bottom location of Polar Night, we have the red Korean Protoss, San. And
Yeah, and
his
he went for a 9 scout, which really does tell that he wants to just play a normal game. Like just no surprising and just see how good his opponent is.
yeah, and that's something that, I guess, do you think that shows a lot of confidence?
I think so,
Yeah.
because you don't take any risk at all, and you play like 100% reactionary. So I think he's very confident in his own skill.
So, I mean, he's clearly, you know, seen exactly what Snoot's up to. Says, you know, no
Yeah.
gas, no early pull, just a standard opening from Snoot, so he's probably going to throw down to Nexus first. And coming into this, you know, there's a lot of options Protoss has to follow up the fast
Yeah.
expansion. You know, there's gateway pressure, there's Stargate openers, there's fast thirds. Of course, you talk about DTs, although I probably won't see that on Polar Night.
Yeah, usually when you open DT, you make it with like gateway expansion, because you don't
Yeah.
want the forge like really fast. You just want the gas and dark shrine like as quick as you can.
And then also you can probably put on some Zelt pressure to distract them a little bit first.
But Forge is very defensive, so if I were to guess, seeing Pool and then he's blocking the hatchery here, he just wants a really normal game, you know, like the 3 hatchery against Forge expand.
So on Polar Night, as a Protoss, you know, one of the big questions a lot of Protoss have is when to take a third base, and
Yeah.
then how hard will that third be to defend if the Zero goes for some type of like mid-game aggression, like fast Roach Max or something like that. As far as Polar Night goes, how do you feel that map ranks with the ease of taking a third base as Protoss?
Obviously it's very hard, but it depends. Like there is some different routes, let's call it that, with when you play Protoss. Like you can either play Sky Toss, like Void Ray,
Yes.
sell it, or you can play normal, which is like Robo, you know.
So that'd be like a Blink Stalker Colossi type.
Exactly,
thing,
like
yeah.
just a big death ball. But seeing Sans VODs, I saw all his games from Aces ROG, and he really likes to make like a fast Robo, and then he makes +1 attack, and he makes like, you know, War Prism for gateways.
Okay, so
And then
some
he likes to
pressure.
like attack with that, and then like tries to snipe the third base while he's expanding his own third. So I think that's the way he will approach it, since, like you said, it's not very easy to defend the third base here, especially if your opponent goes for a speedling, which he doesn't really know at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at
But he's actually sending in a new probe scout right now, so
Yeah.
perhaps this is to confirm the gas, and then react accordingly. But usually it gets sniped by the queen, so it's
well,
kind
we'll
of
see
brave.
if he can.
Okay,
You know,
he's just checking for the third hatch.
Yeah, making sure there's no weird, you know, as soon as the first probe scout died, throw down gas and do some
and he
crazy
boosted the
roach
stalker
trainings.
straight away.
So this is something where the goal of the stalker, of course, is to push those Zerglings away, and then maybe to continue to scout. I mean, maybe you probably can't do significant damage, right? But you can tell if your opponent is like stockpiling units, right?
I think this really shows that he wants to hide what he's doing. Like
Okay.
he boosted a stalker and then he started +1 and a robo.
So once
So
it
he
keeps
just
Snoot-
wants to like mislead Snoot in thinking that he's going for something he's not, right? Like perhaps Snoot is thinking right now, okay, it's 3 stalkers, I have to make units, but
yeah, it might be like gateway pressure because he can't tell what's being chrono
but in
boosted at the
reality,
front.
it's just a 1 stalker to deny info formation here. But he's making a gas as well. 3 gas before gateways is kind of weird, but no, it's exactly what I thought it would be. Yeah.
So we're seeing that robo coming up, 3 gateways behind that, +1.
Yeah. So it's his old standard build in PvC. What I saw in the VODs was that he made double Stargate once the push is done, and then a third base. But he has a few variations, I think, but I'm not sure, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what he does. Of course,
It does look very, very standard.
I kind of like how he's actually able to control the
But
watchtower.
Snoot saw everything with the
Oh,
Overlord, and that is
really
really
nice.
big.
Of course,
Really, really big.
Overlord did pay with its life to the
Will it even
stalker.
see the... I'm not sure if he saw the War Prism, but he can probably assume.
Yeah, I mean, if he saw it
Especially
being
if he will
chrono
see the +1, then it's either like Immortal All-In or a War Prism Harass.
Yes. And you have to, I mean, there's no reason not to be prepared for the Warp Prism and just get a couple units early. Now, we do see he's crossing out towards the third base. There's a ton of Zerglings in production, actually,
There's
32.
3 Spines, no Roach Warren.
I think
I'm not sure why he's not making a Roach Warren. I think this is a huge mistake.
I think he actually just finished it. Yeah, it was in the main. It's all good. So
sorry, I'm not very good.
There's a lot going on here. Now, with this Zerglings without speed, how efficient is this trade from San? I mean, he's not really killing too many drones here. Well, actually, he's already gone. Sorry, actually, he already got 4 drones. So there was 2 Zealots distracting.
I think it's okay, but the follow-up is the big deal here. Like, he's making Immortal still, and he's got 1, and soon 2. So.
And look at this, he's adding actually additional
3 gateways. So this is kind of all in.
Yeah, there's no probes in production.
If he goes to take a 3rd right now, it's fine. But yeah, 44 probes is like the all-in count. Like, you don't want more, you don't want less probes than that.
So, I mean, Snoot is not building more drones right now. He's getting Roach speed. Zergling speed is almost done. In fact, the Overlord, I don't think it quite saw the additional gateways being built, but
it did see 2 Immortals and a lot of sentries, so he knows that some attack is coming, and knowing Snute, I don't think he will underreact. So I think the best thing he can do is wait for a counter with the Lynx when San is going to move out.
Oh, they're waiting on the left side of the map now.
Hydralisks, which I'm not sure if that's the best way right now. Like.
It'd be hard to get out a lot in time, of course, because we do see Sam moving across the map right now. If you can get out a lot of Hydralisks, you know...
That's obviously good then, but
yeah,
it's all about the time right now. You don't want the Protoss to get like a few kills for free, and then you just build off that, the snowball effect, because that's the real problem here. So it will all come down to the first engagement they make here.
Oh, looks like San's actually getting in a decent position. There's no flank from the Zerg.
He got up the pylon with no problems. And he's even getting some units here for free.
Yeah,
I think that's like really good for Sam, but Snoot, he only has 4 more drones than he has probes. So like he cut really early. I'm kind of wondering if he's like too fast of a cut. Like
he won't be able to really.
His economy is really bad. It's equal to Protoss, which is really bad in my opinion.
And look at these force fields, actually. Snoot's really been so many units isolated back here. A lot of roaches kind of clumped up there.
Yeah, San is doing this perfectly.
I mean,
I think he's actually going to win this.
Yeah.
At least in this fight.
Well, Snoot's coming in for one big attack, but very precise with the force fields this San. He's not even using too many. He still has a lot of force fields left.
13 Hydralisks are coming out now, though. That could be a big change here.
How many Hydralisks will come out of the third, and how many will have to be rallied in for the natural and the main? More Zealots being worked in a tank. Another actually great force fields trapping the roaches.
Really good fields, and he still has all the Immortals alive, which is a very big deal.
And he's got 7 gateways behind us. Now he needs a few more units to tank.
20 supply ahead. It's looking very bad for Snoot at the moment. I can't help but feeling like if he saw the move out coming, and then either made a counterattack or slowed down the pylons, he would have been in a great spot, but he didn't stop the push. It just came with no problem, and yeah.
I mean, the third base, he's forfeiting this now. It is going to go down, but remember, he actually tried to pull drones, so he's taken so many worker kills.
Yeah, this really shows to me how confident San is in his own, like, all-in, or timing, so to speak. Like, everything got scouted. He went for a 9 scout. All of this, and then he still breaks him with ease.
Yeah, it wasn't even...
That's very impressive to me.
So I have one question. We saw when that first Warp Prism came in.
Yeah.
Snoot responded, he made 32 Zerglings, and he made like 5 to 6 roaches, and of course he was only on like...
And also 3 spines.
And 3 spines, yeah. So, and he was on a pretty low drone count at that point.
Yeah. I think once he went in with the Overlord and saw the Immortals, he should have understood like, okay, it's going to be Immortal timing. Let's make 10 more drones and switch to Hydras.
Yeah.
And then he would have been on 60 drones, his economy would have been good, and he would have probably stopped the attack, I think.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
But instead, he didn't see where San was going. He got the pylon up, no problem. And it just snowballed from there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
it's one of those things.
It's a big mistake.
Yeah. Because when you first move out as a Protoss, right, all you have is like, I think you had 2 or 3 Immortals and just sentries.
Yeah, exactly. It's only sentries, so if the Lynx come there, you have to like waste a lot of force field. You might even like lose the probe, and that's like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, which is huge in all-in.
Yeah.
But he just went there uncontested, put down the pylon, and just destroyed Snoot.
Yeah. Once he got
There's no other way to describe it.
The line fight definitely seemed to favor San with the great force fields there. But so the next map is going to be Frost, and this is a map you talked about being
Exactly.
a little bit crazy with the 4 spawns. Being Snoot down 0-1, how do you think he's gonna? Is he gonna just play his safe macro game on Frost, and how's this gonna kind of play out?
Snoot is not the kind of guy who go for the 3 hatch, you know, before pull.
Yeah.
Like he's not the kind of guy who likes to rely on, let's say, gambling. He likes more to just win off his own skill. So I
Yeah.
think he will still like make maybe hatch first into pool, and then a hatch. I
Okay.
think the real question here is what Sun is going to do. Like, okay, there's a few different ways to think about the game, in my opinion. Either he just thinks like, okay, I won while playing safe, so let's just do it again.
Yes.
The other one is like, okay, I have 1 game up, I can do something a bit more greedy now to get an easier win.
Yeah. And if you think about the map pool, right? If you're gonna do one of those greedy, easier win type strategies, obviously the last 2 maps are gonna be Frost and Aklon Waste. Would
Yeah.
Frost be the one you do it?
Frost, no doubt.
Okay.
Just because of the 4-player map
Yeah.
status. Like, it's a great map to go all in. I think either Stargate and 3-gate is a really good push here.
Yeah.
Like, you just, you know, like the 6 to 9 sellers, you just crank out Phoenix
Yeah.
while they don't see it. It's a really powerful strategy on a 4-player map. Either that or just like a 6-gate, like you hide the gates in your main and they won't get the scout in time.
Yeah.
Then it's also over. So
Yeah. A lot of
I'm
good.
kind of scared for Snoot at the moment, to be honest.
I mean,
This is the worst map to be like down 0-1.
yeah. Probably it's probably worse than Whirlwind. You would think, as far as 4 spawn maps for like the rant, like the
I think
difficulty of.
it's the difference between Whirlwind is that there is more paths to move across
Okay.
in this map. Like, you know, how to say it?
There's kind of
Like the third base, you know, you
Yeah.
can like go up the ramp and then you can go into a small corner there where there's no tower to spot you.
Yep.
So you can easily go more undetected on this map than Whirlwind. So he's really going to have to be on top of his game to see what's going on.
a lot on top of his scouting, and if we look at last game, in fact,
Yeah.
he wasn't able to even. It seemed like he had all his units on the left side. I don't even know if he knew that push was coming until it got really close.
Yeah, but he saw with Overlord like sentries
He
and
was happy,
immortals
yeah.
and gateways. Well, what
Um,
more can you want to see?
Yeah.
I can't help but feel like Snoot, maybe he saw it too quick even.
Yeah, that could
Or
be it.
It's not really see it too quick, but reacted too quick.
So that's one thing I was thinking is because we talked about how eBay did 3 spines, a lot of roaches, and a lot of zerglings right when you saw the warp prism.
Yeah.
Do you think he thought it was like a 7-gate with the warp prism or something?
That might have been it. It would
Yeah.
have made a lot more sense to me, at least. Like,
Yeah.
But he did see the immortals, right?
Well, I think he saw those a little like.
Later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he
You're
saw the
right.
one immortal.
That might have been the second Overlord, actually.
Yeah.
You might be right here.
And then by then he had already kind of crippled himself
But-
with, of course, the way he opened.
But when I think about San's opening, and then this map, a War Prism could be even stronger here, I think. But then again, Snoot has something going for him at least. It's cross spawn, which
So,
I do think is really good for Zerg.
so we here have at the top right hand of Frost, down 0-1, but does have that cross spawn slide advantage on his hands. The red Zerg, Liquid Snoot. And his opponent in the bottom left, we do have the blue Protoss, San.
Excellent job.
I've been practicing that one. So, on cross map, of course, if San wants to go for like some type of immortal timing, I don't see that happening. He has such a long way to cross the map with immortals and sentries. Now, if he has like a warp prism ready to warp in reinforcements, maybe he doesn't have to wait
Yeah.
quite as long for the pylon. It might not be quite as big a deal, but it definitely is gonna make it much harder.
Yeah, I think the big factor to see now is Snoot going to go for a hatch first, or is he going for a pull first? Because he is down 1 game, so he might just like be like, okay, perhaps he will cannon rush me, so let's not do it. But okay,
Yeah.
I think this is the right choice, to be honest.
Yeah, on the
You can't
4-player
be
map,
too scared on a 4-player map.
Yeah, I mean,
But San, he's going no scout. He's going for gateway inside his base with no ramp wall off. So he's playing kind of greedy in this game so far, which I do like as well.
so what are the? I mean, I guess if you're doing a build like this, you have just the gateway expand in your main.
Yeah.
What would you be worried about a Zerg doing? that could kind of
Like,
take advantage of this.
if you play like this,
Yeah.
you don't have your gateway over here, and they're going for a 10 full speed, you're in a big trouble. It's really hard because once you put down the nexus, the speed will be done.
Yes.
So then the speedlings run in, you have to cancel your expansion. You have only on one gas. So basically the links will just come in here, you use your photon overcharge on the main nexus,
Yeah.
and while they expand at the same time, you can't really move out for a long time because you don't have enough gas for anything.
So you pretty much have to go like
So
3 or 4
pretty
gates.
much you're on one base.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything. So that's why I personally prefer to make the gateway on the wall here, so that I can block with one zealot.
And then your mothership core can push out.
And then the core comes and I like make a pylon there, and then
Yeah.
I'm safe against all kind of attacks.
You can kind of work your way down.
Exactly.
Using
So
choke.
that's like one of the dangers, but I think Sun might actually have like a lot of experience against it still. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's impossible.
It is that temple speeding build. I've seen it a lot amongst Korean Zergs to try to take
Yeah.
advantage, but I haven't seen it too much amongst the non-Korean players.
Yeah, it's kind of too greedy, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or all-in-ish, let's call it that.
One thing I've kind of noticed is, I don't know if this is true or not, but Korean players seem to be much more willing to take risks. And I think it could be
Definitely.
because every time they play the game, right?
Yeah.
It's against someone kind of at their level. Like if they're playing ladder, they're
Yeah,
playing
it's
people
true, yeah.
exactly as good as them. So a risk where they maybe 1/4 or 1/3 time lose their game, they're like, whatever, that's only 1/3 and 1/4.
Exactly.
And I'm looking for something that'll give me more than 50% wins.
Yes, it's true.
Whereas the European players or American players, for example, if you're playing on the European or American ladder and you're like one of the best players, you're not looking to win 60%. You're looking to win like 80, 90%.
Yeah, it's true.
So that you think, I mean, and San might know this as well, so he might be to try.
I'm sure he knows.
Yeah.
Korea is quite a competitive country when it comes to StarCraft.
Anything you know, they knew about a year ago.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
But what you're saying is actually kind of true, to be honest. Koreans, they're not afraid to go all in.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to take money risks like
Play really greedy.
Nexus first and
Yeah.
hatchery first or whatever, because like you say, if there's like a 20% chance that they lose and an 80% chance that they get like way ahead, it's obviously really good, right?
Yeah. And
So-
they're totally willing to. They're not worried about losing to someone who might be
And
quote
the
unquote
thing
worse
is
than
like,
them.
if you're afraid of playing somebody because they can go all in, it's a huge advantage for them in a tournament especially.
So it looks like Snoot has spotted this pylon. There's already 7
Yeah.
zealots on the field. He
So
killed.
this is kind of what I thought Sun
Yeah.
could do.
Oh, he's gonna get the
I
pylon.
think Snute is kind of reacting the wrong way here.
Yeah, I mean, he
'Cause
got the
he-
probe in the pylon, but
That's really good, but he lost all the links. And if he
Yeah.
will lose these queens,
Oh,
we got a
no.
real problem.
that was actually a really great time warp there.
Yeah,
Going
okay.
straight for the queens.
Snute does have 4 queens, so he won't be like limited by his larva, but
He might lose
the
his
thing about
hatchery.
Zealot is like they snowball.
Yes.
So if you kill a bunch of links and you have a bunch of Zealots, your Zealots will only get better.
I mean, it's at the point where if you look at how many Zerglings he's killed, he's already killed 24 Zerglings.
Exactly. He lost a lot of them for killing that pylon. It was really expensive.
And if like maybe if he saves the third, he can recover by joining heavily.
If he kills the Zealots here and does not lose the third, it's good for Snute, I think.
Yeah, but
Even with all of this, but I don't think he will save it.
if he does, it's gonna cost
It's
him a lot
6
more.
Zealots
speed.
still.
Yeah.
And he's down 1,000 in the units lost tab, which
Ye-
is really big at the
Oh, another
minute
queen.
8.
Minute 8 and Sana's already just absolutely
So
kind of
this
crushing him.
is Snute
I mean,
might hold this.
he's
Yeah,
going
he's
to
going
save
to
the
hold
third,
this.
but it was very expensive. I mean,
It
he's
was
going to get
okay.
them.
Now is the real danger here. Sun, he's got a new pylon up by the left side, and also he's got an Oracle on the way, which is kind of interesting in my opinion.
Yeah. So
Oh, and look here, so many sentries.
yeah, there's.
I think there's going to be a follow-up attack here.
And he's building 3 more gateways
Yeah.
too. And is this something that you think, like,
This makes perfect sense in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, if you make damage to your opponent, like that kind of that damage, then
Yeah,
it's
this-
only good to like abuse it, right?
yes.
Like you see a hole that you can use, so
And it's something where if you let's say play more passively, if Snoot just cranks out drones like a maniac, maybe
And the Oracle is really good as well, I think, because
he's killed so many queens.
he kills so many lings, so many queens, so he won't have spores, right?
Yes.
So it's obviously a really smart thing here. He killed a lot of queens, so well, he's not doing anything with it.
Yeah, he's kind of scouting. Do you think he might use it to actually just kill Zerglings in the battle and not even worry about drone kills?
That's possible, but I think what he's going to do is when the fight starts,
Oh.
Snoot will see it
Oh,
and bring all the queens.
Yes.
And then he will put in the Oracle.
Oh, it's happening right now. The natural 2 drones go down. It's
Yeah.
going to focus on a few more now.
I mean, it's a
Snoot's
bit fast, I think.
Yeah, it looks like he was using it as a distraction to get a pylon up maybe, but it still has some energy, so it can still come back in again. It still has 60 energy left. And
But look at the supply here.
oh,
It's hugely in favor of San.
yeah, it is. I mean,
And it's only on 2 base against 3, which is... This is going to be hard.
now
It's
there's
not
some,
impossible.
I like how patient he is with the force fields, actually. He kind of waited a bit there, but now there's
Yeah.
queens coming in.
All the queens are coming in. This is like his final chance, but he got all of the queens and
Oh.
all of the lings and the spine.
This is really, really bad for Snoot here. San just dominating the game here with, which is
Yeah.
pretty standard, you know,
Great
aggressive.
choice of builds, but
Yeah.
very standard, like you said, and we predicted before the game even.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
he
and
did
that's-
exactly what we thought, but he still won easily.
I mean,
And that is the hallmark of an excellent player.
it's one of those things where it's like the counter to it is to play better than them,
Exactly.
and it's
Exactly.
against San. That's not easy to do.
Very hard.
Very difficult. So I have one quick question. There's the game. A solid win for San there.
Yeah.
Now, his build with a 3-gate pressure and then a Stargate behind that. Let's say he did much less damage. Do you
Yeah.
think he would have gone for Phoenixes and a 3rd Nexus? Or would he have kept with that 6-gate Oracle follow-up?
Actually, San plays kind of similar to me
Okay.
and SOS. Like, he would have made the Oracle still, but
Okay.
he would have made the 3rd expansion and a Void Ray, I think.
Okay.
I think that's what he would have done, but perhaps he has something new, but
He knows.
Snoot was apparently not good enough to see it,
Yeah. I mean,
unfortunately.
he didn't pass that first challenge, which is that
Yeah,
Zell
it's true.
attack. I mean, that's honestly
I
pretty
think
much
he
what
chose
ended
really
the
great
game.
builds, to be honest. Like, in game
Yeah.
1, it was just pretty standard. He went for kind of a timing, to,
Yeah.
like, to see how good Snoot is, and it worked out really great. So
Yeah.
then in game 2, he was probably confident, right? Again, okay, this guy is not so good against timing, so let's just kill him again.
Yeah, why not? And it wasn't like it was never a timing that it would instantly lose him the game if it failed. Right?
Yeah, I think they had like equal
Worker counts.
workers. Yeah, I
exactly.
think so.
I mean,
So
even
that's
if
very impressive.
even that follow-up attack at that point, he still didn't have too much attack, but he probably could have transitioned out of it if let's
Yeah,
say
I
Snoot
think so. He
somehow
still had a
held-
Stargate.
Yeah, he still had a Stargate.
And Snoot had no evos.
Yeah.
So it was still fine, I think.
Yeah, Snoot was very low econ.
Worst
in tech
case
pretty
was
much.
like a recall, right?
Yeah,
He still had
recall.
a lot of stuff.
You can take a 3rd easily, right? In that
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
So very, very convincing play by Sana, and that's actually going to put San 1 round away from qualifying for stage 2. He's going to go up against the winner of SWS, and I think it's going to be okay. So he's playing the winner of SWS and Hack. And that could be an interesting match. We'll find out what match we get into next. Of course, there's still a couple matches going on. There's still a lot more content from IEM New York coming for you guys in Open Bracket Stage 1. We'll be right back after a short break.